Hello everyone, this is John from the Chainsaw Buffet podcast, known in the fighting game circles as Johnny5, and today I am going to be presenting a Skullgirls tutorial for Painwheel. Doing something a little bit different from what I've done in the past with the jury videos and some of the game nights. Just going to actually try and take a little bit of time and hopefully go through all the roster, but going to at least be discussing Painwheel today and Valentine in the near future, and just sort of give everyone who hasn't played these characters yet or is looking at starting the game sort of a basic understanding of the characters and some options, and kind of give you a little bit of a push through the door to see what you can do for yourself. But we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll take a look at some of Painwheel's normals first. So when talking about Painwheel's normal attacks, the big thing that we're going to be discussing is her Hatred Guard, which is something that she uses when charging her normal attacks. It gives her different levels of super armor. As a general rule, at least for her ground normals, as far as her Hatred Guard, it's performed by just holding down the attack button for attacks that have Hatred Guard, and light attacks absorb 1 hit, medium 2, and hard 3. Now this changes for the air attacks, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Really, the reason that these are important is that it provides a good way for you to not only get some additional damage, because some of the attacks, particularly her standing and crouching hard punches, have different effects like stagger or crumple, but also it sort of allows you to interrupt a opponent's offense just by absorbing some hits and unleashing one of these attacks and going into a combo of your own. It's important because her normals on their own aren't exceptional. She can't rapid chain any of her light attacks, so all of her hit confirms are going to be coming from going into the regular magic series and then doing flight cancels, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But those are the major things that you have to understand while she's on the ground. Now, in the air, her air attacks aren't terrific. Her best air attacks are going to be her jumping heavy kick and her jumping medium kick. And the reason for these are the medium kick actually has a lot of hit stun in the air, and you can use it for relaunch combos. Also, it's really good if you're doing flight cancel combos. That's probably the best one to use if you're doing a flight cancel on the ground or even in the air. And her jumping heavy kick actually will cross up the opponent fairly easily. Now, while her jumping hard punch does actually have Hatred Guard for 2 hits, it's not that terrific. It's very slow startup. Same thing with her jumping medium punch. And it's kind of difficult to do too much with in combos, and it's hard to get follow-ups afterwards. So, aside from the fact that the medium and hard punches throw you forward and have some good reach, they're not going to be, in most cases, something that you're going to go to a lot. Now, Painwheel has an interesting assortment of special moves. Most of them are not great on their own. She has her Gabelga Stinger, which is her basic projectile. Now, you can charge the medium and heavy versions for more projectiles, but not exactly a great zoning tool. The darts themselves are fairly slow. The hard travels in an upward arc, the medium in a straightforward line. The light version is probably the most useful, though, because it will stun the opponent. Her other special move is her Bear Reaper, which looks like a throw, but is not, because it can be blocked. But it does knock the opponent full screen if you let them get them off of you, or you can follow up in the corner for a combo. The last one is probably the most difficult to use, and that is her Pinion Dash. It's done by pressing down twice and then holding down while tapping kicks rapidly. Now you can release this at any time by just letting go of the joystick, or you can keep pressing buttons to charge it up, and it has different levels. The first level is just a basic hit. The second one will knock the opponent across the screen, and the fully charged version will actually knock them across the screen, off the wall, back to you, where you can follow up for a combo. But it's very difficult to use in a combo outside of using it as a starter. It's very fast, and in combos you can use the lower level versions to create some reset potential, but not something that you're gonna find yourself using regularly, just because it's tough to connect with outside of just reading your opponent. Painwheel's level 1 supers are probably their Bear Thresher. Between the two, I find the Bear Thresher to be a lot easier to use, even though it can only be done in the air. There's just a lot more combo opportunities in the net on some of Painwheel's combos to get the opportunity to use it, whereas the Death Roll has to be used on the ground, and it doesn't automatically OTG against grounded opponents, depending on how many ground bounces and things like that you use, so it takes a little bit more experimentation to use correctly. Her level 3 is interesting. It's her Hatred install, and what that does is it gives her certain abilities for a set amount of time that is depending on how much life, the less life she has, the longer the install lasts, and it will give some of her air Bear Reaper's ground bounce capability, as well as her Bear Thresher also do ground bounce, so you can actually do some pretty elaborate and interesting combos with some of those changes to her special. So really, the Hatred install is something that you just kind of experiment with and see what you can do for yourself. So the last thing I'm going to talk about in regards to Painwheel is her flight. And the reason I'm talking about it on its own is it's such a big part of the game as far as not just movement, but combos and mix-ups. If you played any type of game that uses characters with flight like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you're going to have a fairly decent understanding going into it of what to expect. But with Painwheel it's a little bit different, because she can cancel from any of her normals at any time into her flight mode, which is very interesting because you can create constant high-low mix-up pressure and keep what would normally be unsafe magic strings safe just by switching out and canceling your attacks. It's something to just sort of experiment with and keep in mind, but at the same time you have to be careful with it because it's very easy to trigger that state where they can break out of your combos because you're being too repetitive just by going in and out of flight. Because really, in mix-up and combo situations, her medium kick is really the only one that's going to work reliably that close to the ground, because, as I've mentioned before, her medium punch and hard punch are way too slow to use reliably that close, and her heavy kick isn't going to be a great option for that either, because it's not going to allow you to continue the combo very easily. So it's something that you want to keep in mind. It's great for pressure, but it opens up a whole new world of different combo possibilities and something to just really experiment with. So to leave you guys off, I'm just going to show you a few basic combos that I've come up with in the couple of days since the game's been out. So enjoy, and if you have any questions, leave a comment, email podcast@chainsawbuffet.com, anything like that, we'll get back to you, and tune in for the next one. Thanks a lot.